should you text me and be like, hey, just so you know, like, sorry, we ended up at the strip club. Like, yeah, I would appreciate it. But if you start texting Lil Rainbow Bright on the side, like, we're going to have an issue.
Yeah. Welcome to the Allegedly podcast with your hosts, Katie and Dakota.
Hey.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. You know what I was almost thinking about saying is I was going to say, my name's Dakota Etheridge, and you're listening to the Allegedly podcast. Kind of like a little Disney moment,
a little
you know?
Disney moment. We
like
love that.
But I wanted to pause and get you in there as well.
Trace the mouse ears.
Mm-hmm. You like that?
Yeah, I like it. So I'm glad you're doing well. Today, I don't know what we're talking about. Dakota is going to surprise me. Well, technically, let me backpedal. Technically, I do know what we're talking about because he has texted me about it before, but apparently I don't remember. So he's going to like throw a little surprise element in there. So,
and we text so much, so it's just a pain to go through that history.
We stay.
It's texting. Deep in there.
So what are we talking about today, Doc?
Okay, so the first thing that I want to talk about is something that came up in conversation over the weekend. So I feel like everyone kind of has that one friend that like will bring in a conversation from left field and just ask everyone a random question. So we were at a social gathering and someone said, "Is it cheating if you pay for the service?"
Oh.
Yep. That was most everyone's reaction. It did get a little quiet there, but if you really think about it, it's kind of hard to say because I think it depends on what service you're talking about. If it's a haircut and like someone tosses your hair, okay, acceptable. But like, what if you go to the strip club?
If it's a little sloppy toppy.
Okay, that's the line. Moisture is the line, everybody. When moisture is involved.
When your skin is touching my skin.
What's your response to that?
Well, okay, so like what's the context in general? Because like if you're saying literally like, is it cheating if I go to a restaurant and someone's serving me, then fuck yeah, it's cheating.
But I think if it's like something that's flirtatious or, you know what I mean? Like something in that field, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, so like in the prostitution escort
So let's
situation,
start slow.
Or like
a lap dance. Let's just start with a lap dance. Is it cheating if you pay someone to give you a lap dance?
No, but I think that that's kind of like disrespectful. Like, do I think that you should do it? No, absolutely not. But like, I mean, we know that like at bachelor and bachelorette parties, people naturally are paying for a stripper, or at least they used to. I've never been to a bachelorette party with a stripper, but like...
Have you ever been to a strip club?
Yes. I have been to a strip club once with my male cousin. It was... It like scarred me for the rest of my life because I saw him get a lap dance and it was just like something that I never needed to see. And then I got super drunk because I was like traumatized. Yeah. So, I've been to a strip club once, but I think that like a lap dance is like honestly pretty innocent. I think that like there's a line of like where you shouldn't go. So if you're going back into those like
secret tunnels downstairs.
Yeah, I don't know what they're called.
Listen,
like
if there's a curtain involved and you gotta go through that curtain.
Like the black card rooms, you know, like I just don't know what they're called, but like they're expensive. Like if you're heading back to one of those rooms, do I think it's cheating? Yeah, probably. But if it's just like a little like lap dance, or just like you're kind of like a stripper's getting flirty with you and you're kind of like, I wonder what that's about kind of thing. Like that's all kind of like just a big mystery to me. You know what I mean? So
right. I think it
it's
depends
a little more forgivable, but go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, if you're on the receiving end and if you get a little handsy, that's where it could become problematic. I think what you said is kind of where it's like respectful or not respectful. So when you go to a bachelor or bachelorette party, it's almost kind of assumed, you know, like that's kind of the vibe. It's like, oh, we're going to go to a strip club. And so I think it's important for your partner to know about it before anything like that happens. But if they don't know, then that's just kind of where it gets shaky. Is it a breakupable situation? Probably not, but it should be a learning experience, you know?
Yeah. Well, what I was going to say is like, if it's just like a situation where you just like pop in on a whim, like, should you text me and be like, hey, just so you know, like, sorry, we ended up at the strip club. Like, yeah, I would appreciate it. But if you start texting Lil Rainbow Bright on the side, like, we're going to have an issue.
If you know her real name,
if you know her real name is Cassandra, we got even bigger issues than Rainbow Bright.
I think we are aligned.
Yeah,
Love to hear it.
So I like that you pointed out, like, if you inform me that it's going on, then I feel kind of fine about it, you know?
I agree.
Because, I mean, if you're with your partner and you trust them, you know,
I think
then you shouldn't be worried.
I think something that like celebrities do, there's like some confidence, or there's something I respect about when a couple goes to a strip club together, and I'm really only thinking about Cardi B and Offset. But like when they go together, and
do they do that? That's iconic.
Yes. And I just there's something about that I love to see it. You just
like kind of a flex
to see it.
You just
it's just like a confidence thing, and it's just like, that's my
like,
man. He's getting she's working for my man over there.
You're just like sitting together, like throwing dollars around.
There is something about that I respect and like to see.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just a respect line, you know.
What did you think about Hooters, or what do you think about Hooters? And I ain't talking about the wings.
I don't have a problem
do places
with
like that make you feel any type of way?
No. I think that,
do you
like,
think they're going to go away in the future, just based on
I mean, maybe they will, but I think that, like, places like that, it's the reason I don't think they will is because that's literally just go to any nightclub in Scottsdale, and that's like how the girls are dressed, like even more revealing than that. You know what I mean? Like, they're wearing bras and like underwear, and that's fine. Like, good for them. They're making bankroll. Right. Like, I know a lot of girls who have done like the bottle service thing and have made so much money. And like, honestly, if I had that kind of body, I probably would do it too.
If they were hiring, like, and I had that kind of body, I'd be in there.
Yep.
Wearing swimwear.
Exactly. So no, I don't think that kind of thing really bothers me. Everyone has to have a job. You know what I mean? And like, who am I to judge like what job you choose to have? And also, if you're successful in what you're doing, like, good for you. You know what I mean? Agree. I think, and I think that I don't know a whole lot about Hooters, but I know that they have like some interesting dynamics going on with like, they have pageants, I think, and stuff like that.
I think that is true.
Calendars or something. So I mean, who knows? Like, I don't know all the dynamics of Hooters, but there's even more, I guess, to their company than I just the restaurants. I, again, don't know all the details, but
heard great things about the wing.
I've heard great things. Yeah, no, that doesn't bother me.
Love to hear it. So the next thing, something that I've just like has come up in conversation, completely different than what we just talked about, but baby names and that whole process. So for you, are you someone that has already in their head, I know this is what I want?
Yes.
Like, you do?
Yeah.
Is that something that's like kept a sworn secret? Is that something like, how do you approach that?
I'm happy to share with the class if you'd like for me to.
An allegedly exclusive. Okay.
But here's the thing. Like, if I share with the class, like, everyone needs to understand, like, I now have timestamps of when I announced this to the class, because just like little, I guess, almost funny backstory. So my nephew's name is Grayson.
Shout out.
I always had Grayson on my boy name list.
Mm,
And I guess I must have never shared it with my sister. I don't know, but now my
allegedly.
nephew's name is Grayson, so had to erase that one from my list. So now I'm all about like sharing all my names
So
and
that's
claiming
funny.
them.
That was going to be my follow up is like, how important is it for you to claim it? Because I do like it comes up in conversation every time one person's pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, oh, I like this name, and everyone kind of
Yep.
tiptoes around like sharing. And I don't
Yeah.
necessarily know why. I guess because there is a fear of stealing. But I think if you put it out there and you claim it, that's the way to do it.
Yeah. So
So
I
if we had like a
there's
little
like
allegedly baby,
yeah, so there's like two names I think that are like my like ride or die names. Like I would be very heartbroken if anyone ever stole them. And then I have like I think 3 or 4 other names that are like just in cases, you know.
mm-hmm.
So I want to name my first daughter Charlie.
Love.
Yeah. So I think that like whenever I've wanted to name my first daughter Charlie for years and years and years. And I think that whenever I thought of the name, I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll name her Charlotte so that like she can kind of choose. But now I'm like, no, we're going Charlie. Like
Mm-hmm.
we don't need to name her a girl name in case she doesn't want to have a quote unquote boy name. Like, no, your name is Charlie. And I actually think that it's kind of weirdly, I'm seeing random girls pop up with the name Charlie too.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
So
So
I had a friend in college. Her name was Ryan, and I loved that.
oh, I have a friend in college named Ryan too.
I think it's so cool, and I think when it's like,
Actually, she listens to the podcast. Shout out Ryan.
shout out to all the Ryans out there, especially those who are listening. But
Mm-hmm.
I think that whenever you have like a historically masculine name for a girl, then I love that. That's so cool to me.
Yeah, it's like game over.
Mm-hmm.
You know that I don't know if you ever saw this movie when you were younger. It was American and Ashley Olsen movie. So I don't know how familiar you are, but it's called Getting There. And I think actually it might have been Megan Fox in this movie.
Oh.
But there was a girl in there named Kyle, and I kind of digged
I love that.
Like I thought it was kind of cool. Yeah. So Charlie is like dead set, like that's my daughter's name. Like my husband can fight me on it or he could divorce me. Like,
this is like first date conversations.
Like that's
are you
sorry.
in or are you
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then for boys, number one boy name for me is Camden. I love that name. I think it's a fantastic name. And then number 2, this name I've had since I was, I think 10, and Britney Spears had her first son, Preston. So I love that name. But that name's very much like dependent on like my vibe and like, do I want a little son who's gonna walk around wearing boat shoes or not, you know?
I see where you're going
like,
with that. Because it is it's like William.
Preston is very much a boat shoes name.
You're so
and
right.
then I do have a gender neutral name.
Come on, baby.
So this because here's the deal. Because I would like to have 3 children. Everyone listening is like, holy shit, Katie has her whole life planned out and she doesn't even have a boyfriend. Like, I'm not even in the area code.
But I think that's
I don't think I'm even
thing.
in the state or country. Like, so
that's hilarious.
My gender neutral name for child number 3, and like I plan all this, like my husband's just gonna be like, okay, sure, you know what I mean? But it's like I'll fight him, is Parker.
Okay. I see it. I see the vision. See, whenever you gave me the first 2, I was like, is she going with the CK vibe, like the Kardashians with the cuz, you know, or even the CH? But I like to hear it. That's great.
No, it's just kind of like a mixed bag of names. I also like the name Gia. I think the name Gia is super cool. And it's just different. And then I like the name Jax, just like JAX.
So for me, I like haven't really invested a whole lot of time. Like I have no notes on it. I have, you know what I mean? Like I don't have any lists. I think because I feel like I want, like, you know how the crazy celebrities have like a very forward thinking name? Yeah, those type names.
Pilot Inspector.
Is that a name?
Yeah, I remember
Who
when
did
I was
that?
younger watching, I can't remember, but did you ever watch like the VH1, like, um,
The one-
I don't know, like the
Next.
Hollywoods? No, no, no. Like, oh shoot, what were they called?
Hey, my name's
The
Tyler Inspector, and I like.
No, shoot. It was like the best life. No, no, no. Crap. I can't remember what it was called, but like it would be like these themed episodes of like Hollywood life almost. And
Uh-huh.
one of the episodes was like crazy baby names. I need to figure out what this was, but yeah, someone named their child
Oh,
Pilot
like True
Inspector.
Life?
No, no, I need to
Mm,
figure out what it was.
it's
Secret
all
Life?
right. Don't lose sleep
That's
over
of
it.
Zach and Cody.
Yeah. I
I'm
think.
gonna look it up and tell you later.
Thanks for circling back.
No problem.
I think for me, I like the very fresh names. Like I think that some of the like older names, I don't personally see. You know what I mean? Like I like a lot of them,
Okay.
but I think
What
the
are
people
what
who
are the older names like
like
Dolores,
classic, yeah, like classic names.
Claudia,
I'm not.
Dorothy,
I think because I hope that
Eleanor?
I can perform and like be creative enough in the moment to like have something like
Okay.
that happen. Because I think the people who do it right, and I love every single one of their names, is the West family. Like I think that like
Saint,
I love all of their names, and I don't know what
North,
it is. Maybe it's just because they have
Saul,
a full vibe,
Chicago.
but it's got I don't know.
Okay.
That's just what I think.
Well, it's fine. We're getting married anyways, so you have to be accepting of my children. Take it or leave it.
I love to hear that.
Yeah, but I feel like it's kind of, I guess, more common for girls probably to like be thinking of their future children's names. I had a boyfriend that like he had names that he liked too.
I think it's cool if guys are like putting it out there. You know what I mean? Oh, you know what
Yeah.
name I do like is I do like my grandmother's maiden name, Bentley. I think
That's
that's
a
kind of
cool
cool.
name.
Because it's got like, dollar signs attached to
Just
it.
a little swag to it. Yeah.
And then like this is gonna definitely be used in my family or just like close family friends. But James, like that's my middle name. That was like it's my uncle's
Totally.
name, my grandpa's name. So like for me, if anyone steals any of those names, I'm cool with because the chances of me having kids are on the low, baby.
Did I ever tell you, like, just on the topic of baby names, and James kind of like sparked this memory for me. So my parents like thought I was a boy, did not find out my gender until I was born. Were fully convinced I was a boy, and they were gonna name me Brendan James Henry. So we would have been James sisters.
I would have loved that.
Yeah. I would have been an asshole, honestly.
Yeah, we probably would not have been friends.
I would be banging bitches.
Oh,
Would literally
hilarious.
have been every single man that I hate. So proud of it. Shout out Brendan. That's me.
Oh man, that's funny. Yeah, that's all. Like I just have been thinking about that because I know someone that's thinking of baby names right now, and it's kind of stressful.
Well, whoever that is, like, don't steal my names. Just kidding.
Okay, so just like a little pop culture moment, I think that we should just like share what we think about it. But Ellen DeGeneres, she's over, right? Like, are we over her, or do we need to give her a second chance? Is the media controlling our perceptions? Do you really think that she's a rude person? Does she deserve to be canceled? What's your opinion?
Yes. So I think we've kind of already touched on this on our blind items episode on if Ellen
we did,
sucks. And yeah, so like we broke this news. This is news that like we shared prior to it coming out. So if you need to hear that, you can go back to the Kimye titled episode. But yeah, I think that like if you are rude to your employees and then not willing to take accountability and just like she's almost like pushing things off on people who are lower than her in her company, and I think that that's kind of disgusting as well, because to me that just shows a lack of ownership. Like it's your show. I
don't see anyone else's name on there.
Yeah, so like you can't be sitting around, in my opinion, acting like, oh, I had no idea this was going on, and like, oh no, but I'm not treating people like that. Well, no, maybe you're not, although many of us have heard you are, Miss Ellen.
Mm-hmm.
But like there's no way, like you're the boss, you're the head honcho of your show. So
Mm-hmm.
there's zero way that like if there was something else not involving her that she didn't know, and she's just acting like, oh my god, I had no idea, and it's like, shut up.
Well, I
So
think that
yeah,
if it
she's done
was
for me.
the successes and let's say like 100 years from now, you know, people will look back at the show and all the successes she would have owned, she would have been remembered for. But if you're going to have the successes and own those, you also have to own the
Totally.
imperfections, the criticism, the things like that. So
Yep.
her time.
Totally. And I mean, we know it was Ellen too, because Dakota Johnson got on her show and called her out on the show. And if you haven't ever seen that clip, it's the most cringy thing ever, and you got to look it up on YouTube.
I know what you're talking about. I think, do you think, piggybacking on this topic, do you think that celebrities should try to be in touch or like kind of bow out from the limelight, like kind of at their peak or like a little bit after their peak? Like, do you think people need to leave the industry at some point before before maybe you lose your own flair, or, you know, like, what's your opinion on that?
No, not necessarily. I think that like you need to do what's right for yourself, your family, your mental health.
Mm-hmm.
If you are happy with what you're doing and you are thriving in your career, then continue doing it. Mm-hmm. There's no reason to stop. But if you are sitting around thinking and you're like, you know what, this no longer fulfills me. I'll give you like Gronk, for example. So Gronk decided that he was going to retire from football, right? Like he was like, you know what, I'm not happy. Like or not that he wasn't happy, but like he was like, I don't need to face any more injuries. Like
right.
I've made my money. I'm good. Stopped, was out for a year. And then I think in that year off, he was kind of like, you know what? I miss my passion. So he's coming back. And I think that's great.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's 4 people in those positions. I think that they are fortunate enough to where like they can pop back in if they want. And for a lot of people, especially of like that kind of status, like they're going to still succeed and thrive.
Yeah.
I do think like, I mean, I don't want to touch too much on cancel culture, but I think that like in an Ellen position, like she is going to need to start taking a whole lot of accountability if she wants a lot of people to start like getting back into her corner. Especially because like with her, I think it's a different scenario where like she painted this like love and kindness, be kind to people persona. That's what her career is built on, right?
Totally agree.
So like for all of these accusations to come out, where it's like, okay, like the brand that she has and then the person that she actually is are the complete opposite. It's like you're gonna have to do a whole lot of accountability taking and rebuild completely, in my opinion, if you want to succeed.
Yeah, I honestly don't think that if I was guessing, I don't think she's gonna come back from this, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with you.
Do you have someone that you would want to, like, you know, if anyone calls us and asks us who we would want to replace her, who would you want? Because the person I'm seeing, something I saw online, which I think is so funny, is that someone had like a petition or like, share this so we can get some momentum. Tiffany Pollard, also known as New York from I Love New York.
Oh my God, that would be a mess. That would be a mess. Messy. Oh my God.
I hadn't thought of this.
Super messy.
I think Keke Palmer, I love Keke Palmer. I think that she's going to have something like that at some point, whether she, but I think that she'd be great for it.
I've seen suggestions of her for one of the talk shows because I think she's on one, right?
I don't know if it went away or if
Michael
it's done.
Strahan.
She's on that. And she's going to be the host of the
I want to host
VMAs.
that.
But I would love to see someone like that get up in there.
Yeah.
I think he's fun. I also am a big fan of Chelsea Handler. I love Chelsea Handler.
I do like Chelsea Handler. I think though that slot
is not for
it shouldn't be a dirty humor comedian.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to me, and what's disappointing, I think, about the whole situation is, like, yes, Ellen is a comedian, but I think that, like, anytime that I was, like, having a bad day and I knew Ellen was on, like, I would turn it on just because there was so many, like, inspiring stories and, like, people, like, you know, it's very, like,
it's uplifting.
Yeah. It's just, like, feel good stuff. And I think that Miley, the week that Miley hosted, was fantastic. She actually did a really great job, and she has the Bright Minded, like, that little TV series. I think was fun. So I think she could be someone who's kind of fun. However, I don't know, like, how much she could connect and relate to, like, a full spectrum of people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would love it, you know what I mean? But I just don't know, like, thinking about ratings kind of perspective, someone who I think could actually potentially do really well in that, well, two people, Chrissy Teigen.
Oh, wow. Good.
I think
she would be good.
She would be good because I think that she's very funny and she's likable by a good majority of the population, but a wide population of people.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that she would be good. I think that someone, if you want to go with someone who's already in that kind of realm, is just pulling, like, a James Corden today's.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Today's Shift.
I've seen that the most. I've seen that shared, like, the most. You know who I just thought of that would be a nice little middle finger is Miss Meghan Markle. Imagine if with the royals saw her take Ellen's spot, because she's got that, like, she's classy, she's, you know, she's kind of got it all. Imagine if that was the deal. I don't know much about her personality.
Yeah, I was gonna say I just don't, like, connect with her.
I don't even know it at all.
I think, I mean, not that I connect with Ellen by any means, but I feel like in those kind of talk shows, you want someone who you can relate to in some way, shape, or form that makes you feel engaged and want to listen to them. Which
Chrissy Teigen would do phenomenally.
So slam dunk. I'm just out here making all the suggestions.
I'm into them all.
Yeah, so that's my vote.
Love to hear it. Let us know in the comment section of the episode what y'all think out there.
And this is why I do the wrap-ups.
Something that I have been thinking about this week is there's just like, with everything that's going on, you know, how many times have you heard, like, with everything going on, you know, there's just a lot happening right now.
Yeah.
And I was just curious if, like, I beg the question, do you think that we're being overstimulated by
with everything going on,
crises, causes, that, like, some of these movements are having a hard time getting momentum because there's so much happening, and maybe it is a time for change to where now everyone is like, hey, like, I'm here too, or, like, the fires are happening, the oil spills happening. There's just so many things that, do you think that it's becoming less effective, or how, like, what's your opinion on all that?
So, not to get too, like, spiritual and weird, but this year is, like, astrologically and just, like, the way that the planets, the stars are aligned, like, the way that everything aligns this year, it's a huge year for change and shifting. So I think, like, a lot of people are going through karmic cycles, and that's what kind of brings on, like, all of these crazy different things. So I think that what's hard about, if you're connecting it to, like, what is supposedly going on based on all that, is that, like, everyone's got their, like, platform that they want to talk about. And everyone does it and commits for a while, and then they go on and commit to something else, But then all of a sudden there's people who are still committing to the thing on the left being like, hey, you forgot about us. And it's like, well, no, I didn't forget about you, but I'm also trying to be supportive of this. So it's kind of like everyone's putting like their hands in like every single different area. So like, I think when I think about myself, like we obviously did a podcast episode on Black Lives Matter. Am I posting every single day about that? No. But in the background, am I still like reading books written by like Black women? Absolutely. Like, I'm still following every single person I followed when like that was hot. You know what I mean? And like people were kind of like saying like, oh, you're going to do it now for clout. And then like, whenever people stop looking, kind of drop off. So I think that, yes, like people are being overstimulated. But I think that what the challenge for all of us is like figuring out how to kind of manage those things and do kind of like what's right for you.
I agree. I think the thing that is not working for me now, and maybe it's just like the time that I'm spending on social media, but like I think especially with the Black Lives Matter, I had never seen more informative story posts than I see now, you know, like that's kind of becoming a place to send a message. And now I'm not like watching anyone's story really, you know, or there's people who have like 5 things and I don't know why it is that I'm not in touch with it as much anymore. And I think the thing that's working for me and like that I have done is just like continuing having conversations, because now I'm not on the receiving end of like social media messages, and I'm not sure why. And I think that some of the YouTube stuff that I've been watching is still helpful, because like when I'm watching that, I'm stimulated more. I don't know, but I think, if there's something that you want to continue to support or a cause that you're passionate about, I think that like you have to acknowledge the fact that there is a lot of things happening
going on.
And it's not to say that they're not all important, but it's just like we have to realize that there is noise now, and it's hard to navigate through that. So
what I think there's a couple things I think that are very worth recognizing. One, we are 5 months into a global pandemic, right? Where like there are many people who leave their house for toilet paper and groceries once a week and then stay home, work from home, and are like really doing the thing where like they are in home, right? There's people who are kind of going out and like just wearing a mask, and like that's totally fine. But I think life is different because of that. That has created a huge mental draining toll on literally all of us. So you have that problem. And then you have situations like Black Lives Matter. I think we're talking about it, so it's easy to kind of use it as the example where like whenever everything, I don't want to say first started happening because this isn't a new topic. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I think that when it really started becoming a conversation, I guess you could say, a lot of people that I was starting to follow would frequently say like, be cognizant of the burnout. So I think that a lot of people right now, and I don't want to like diagnose you by any means, but I think a lot of people are getting in that burnout phase where it's like, hey, I've gone so hard on this for like 2-3 months, however long. And I've, really been doing my due diligence, but then there's like external pop-up factors. Like we've got an election to worry about now, and like the state of our country. And not to say that like the Black Lives Matter movement is not important, because it absolutely is so important. You know what I mean? But I think that people are just kind of like in their time that they are spending on social media trying to like almost spread themselves too thin. I think that it just gets to the point where social media is no longer a place of enjoyment anymore. So I think that that's where you do need to like kind of recognize it and be like, you know what, I am going to take a break from that. And like, I'm not going to watch all the stories or post all the things. Like I'm still going to do like my background work. But I do think that like there does come a point where you become super ineffective in helping make a change if you don't take a moment to stop. You know what I mean?
I totally agree. Something that is unique to this week too, and I had never thought of this, but it recently came through my mind is, so have you heard or have you seen anything about that oil spill that occurred?
I haven't.
So
I'm
there is,
sorry.
no, I
It's been a
know.
busy week for your girl.
I feel that. And I feel like a lot of people haven't. I'm not entirely sure where it is, but there is like a pretty major oil spill that happened like
Really?
in some country. And something that I had thought of, and it's kind of similar to the explosion that happened, is like whenever I'm thinking of like these social injustices or things like that, I have like a huge, I do have a confidence that things are going to change. Like I think over time, I'm going to see a positive outcome, and it aligns with like my views, you know. I just like, I feel very confident that that's going to happen over the course of our lifetime. The thing that I had thought of with like the oil spill for some reason, and I've never been like like I make a lot of mistakes as like environmentalist or whatever that may be. But whenever I see something like that happen, it made me realize for the first time that it's like, yo, those type things that happen, those mistakes, those like injustices, if you want to call it that, we kind of can't take back, you know, like anything that we do to the environment or however that looks, like we really can't, it's not going to change. And the only direction that change is going to happen is downward. So it is weird. I know, sorry. But it is weird. It was the first time that I ever thought that like, whoa, like we need to kind of, this can't be happening, you know, like, not at all. And I like anytime I go down a rabbit hole of something like that, I always see just like the trash in the ocean and like, all that nonsense. So I don't know if you haven't ever, if anyone hasn't ever seen anything along the lines of that, it may wake you up a little bit more as far as like straw usage or anything, just like baby steps into all that, you know? But
well, you know, I've got my full gallon
and we love you for that. But I think it is
sustainable.
Just stuff like that. It was just like a weird moment of perspective where I was like, yo, like we're heading in the wrong direction and we can't bounce back no matter what.
Totally. No, but I mean, I fully agree. I need to look up the oil spill because that's really upsetting.
Yeah, it's weird. And like I was thinking, you know, like if you've ever gone snorkeling, how many times have you been and it's just kind of like, you know, this don't look like the movies. This doesn't look like Finding Nemo.
I was just really going to say, this is not Finding Nemo.
It really does not look like Finding Nemo. And it's kind of weird. It's just like, you know.
Well, I mean, it's super sad to like think about like we had such a beautiful planet, right? And what we are doing is actively destroying it. And am I perfect? Absolutely not, right? Like I drank from water bottles that I would purchase on the daily probably until I bought this water bottle. You know what I mean? So like I was guilty of it for a very long time. And now I only drink from this water bottle. But yeah, like I think that I could improve like in my makeup routine and like what I'm doing there to like be super ineffective, right? Like there's areas that we can all improve in. And I think when it comes to our environment, like we just need to take better care of it.
Yeah, I don't know how people perceive it. Like I get, like it's not something that's talked about, and like you know, it doesn't come up in conversation a lot. Like I've talked about it with some of my friends, but like I don't know, it's weird, and it became political at some point, and I'm not sure why. I really have no idea why it's a political thing. Maybe because like coal, and that's like, you know, business and money. It's all money driven and stuff.
I couldn't tell you because I'm not a super big politics girl. The most I know is that JFK is the hottest president of all time. But
I think, and I think it also stems from people just thinking like, that's not going to happen to us. You know, like people, you see the smog. Like I think of when we had the Olympics in Beijing, and like, I do remember seeing the smog when they were doing outside the stadium and stuff. And I just think people are like, not going to happen to us. Or I don't know what people think, but I don't know. And Wall-E was just too ahead of its time for people to like kind of wake up from that movie too. So
Well, I didn't see it, so I can't comment on that subject matter. I'm not a SME.
But
Yeah, no, that is super upsetting.
yeah, and that's really it. I think the only other hot topic is we saw Kamala Harris is now going to be the Joe Biden's running mate. And
Yep.
the thing that really disappointed me the most is, and it's, I don't think this is political at all, but like when they were trying to verify if she was able to be president or not, did you see that?
Vice president?
Well, like if he were to die, because they say that you have to
Oh,
be like, I don't know. I guess the
no.
headline was they had to verify if she was born in this country.
Oh.
So I think that it's just so offensive.
It's literally every single time a person of color is about to be in a position in our government leadership, it's like, oh, they're not from this country.
Do you
That's
not
ridiculous.
think that someone that is as smart as she has, that has achieved what she has, it wouldn't have ran for president in the first place if she was, you know what I mean? Like that would have been news if when she was running, you know, in the first place. So I think when that came up, that was just like extremely disappointing, you know.
That's ridiculous.
That needed to be verified. So just thought I'd throw that in there because
I don't know much about her, but I think that should they win, there's obviously some challenges, I think, with like the position that we are in with both of our presidential candidates. But I think that like having a woman in office to whatever extent, I think is fantastic and progressive. And like I said, I'm not a big politics person, so I don't know a whole lot. I know what I see on Twitter, and like that's super bad to say. And like, especially in the next couple months, I do plan to like make sure that I am getting super educated, because like maybe I'm like, oh yeah, I'm voting for Biden, but it's like maybe that's not the right option. I'm pretty confident it is. But you know what I mean? Like I do want to be like fair and
no, I agree. That's the approach that I take.
And consistent with like just kind of like looking across the board and seeing like what every box of cereal has to offer me, you know?
I love to hear it. She's thick and thorough.
So I have something for you.
Oh, I'm surprised. I'm caught off guard.
So I think that we kind of just talked a little bit about some like kind of heavy stuff, you know? So I want to know something good that happened to you this week.
Oh, okay. Actually,
just a little positivity moment.
I had a lot of affirmative moments that coming home was the right decision to make, like for me to progress on the van. And like I talk about the van a lot, and it's, you know, it's not as exciting because it's not moving like super fast, or it's not done. But I just think I realized that the people that I have here like supporting me or that are offering help, like I wouldn't have had anywhere else. And it's really hard to get people to do small jobs or small projects. So people being willing to just like help me or point me in the right direction of someone that can, like, it just kind of,
that's fantastic.
Yeah. A huge pro of being from a small town where like you're connected in a positive way. And it's like, I'm reaping the benefits of like what my parents and what my family has done here. So it's cool.
That's awesome. That makes me really happy to hear.
What about you, sis?
That for you. So I started a new job this week, and honestly, I just spent all 5 days working overtime as the teacher's pet. It was draining. But she's gonna succeed. I'm gonna do great in the role, and I'm very confident in that. I think that like my teachers set me up for success pretty well, and you know, I'm just gonna crush it like I do most things. The other thing exciting, like right before we hopped on to record, I found out that my loan for my home was approved, which is fantastic. And actually 2 weeks from today, the day we're recording this, is my move-in day. So less than 2 weeks until I close, which is crazy. I'm excited, and I feel like I can like take a sigh of relief now that I know it's approved. Not that I was super concerned, but I feel like I did have a little bit of nerve just because I'm like, okay, I'm buying a house on my own. Like, and I don't know what getting approved for a loan looks like, you know what I mean? At that capacity by any means. So I think that I just like had a lot of stress around that. So hearing that news was fantastic. So that's great. And then I'm finishing up a workout program and have lost 10 pounds on it and like a shit ton of inches. So she's getting
baby.
snatched. Yeah, a lot of inches comparatively to like the actual weight, which is cool. So
I love that.
Yeah, cool. Well, this was fun. I like doing the little like rapid fire episodes. I hope everyone likes it. Would love feedback on what you all think about these kind of episodes. I think that we've kind of changed the direction a little bit from doing like one set topic, you know, to like kind of spitfiring a few things and talking about them for a little bit and then moving on. So,
and different vibes for them all.
Yeah. So give us feedback, like if you want to hear different themes, if you want to like have us focus in like a different sector, you know, the economy, the environment, we could all get educated a little bit more. So I hope that everyone enjoyed this episode. As always, follow Dakota at Dakota Etheridge on all platforms. That means YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. He is working on his Twitter game eventually. You should definitely check out all of his van life.
You know what I almost tweeted once recently, and I was gonna just hit you with a surprise and see if you said it, is
I would pass out.
Thinking about starting an OnlyVans.
I would die. Please tweet that. Yeah, definitely go support Dakota on his van life YouTube videos. They're truly fantastic.
Thanks,
his latest video, I think the latest video was the fishing one, right?
She got vloggy with it.
Yeah, that one was super fun and I really enjoyed it. So you guys got to go check that out. For me, I'm all over the place at KatieHenry _ on Twitter. Yes, I'm back at kt.hen on Instagram. And then my YouTube is Katie Henry. Our Instagram together is at allegedly Katie Dakota. And most importantly, where we need the most support and help from you all right now is on our YouTube. So our YouTube channel is allegedly with Katie and Dakota. Please go ahead and go subscribe to us there. And actually, you know what? Since I'm throwing out all these requests, I'm going to throw out one more. Do me a favor. After you listen to this podcast episode, log on to Apple Podcasts, go to our podcast, go down to the bottom of our podcast. You're going to hit that 5-star button.
Come on,
and then
bitch.
And then you're going to write a review about how funny we are and how beautiful Dakota is. After that, you're going to scroll to the top and you're going to hit subscribe, and then you're going to go on your merry way. Now that I've requested all those things of you, please send us requests of what you want of us.
Love that. There we go. That's why she's the professional.
Sip of water. I need a sip of water. All right, everyone.
I'm over here licking my lips.
Have a good week, guys.
Bye.
Bye.